comes to mind, you might think of long legs, a small waist, and blonde hair. But, and her body may seem a little unrealistic, but actually, according to the academics from the University of South Australia, they suggest that it's not impossible to obtain Barbie's body. Actually, 1 in 100,000 people can have this body, which obviously isn't an average woman. The California census, which says that there's 36,756,666 Californians, basically would mean that approximately 360 people out of the whole entire state of California would be this body type, which honestly isn't very many out of the whole state, and approximately 2,800 out of the whole entire United States. Today we'll discuss Barbie's image as a problem, the effects that it has on individuals, and lastly, what can be done about it. Today I will first discuss Barbie's image as a problem. Barbie's image is mostly about looking good, having fun, and that's kind of odd considering that her body suggests that you would have to have a high risk of public health implications, so it's kind of hard to imagine that you can have fun while having health risks. Since 1959, Barbie has evolved. She has been, obviously, different types of people had different careers, but it suggested in Business Week article, an article that is entitled "Barbie, You Look Bodacious." It talks about how they're going to create Barbie with a wider face, which is kind of strange because they're talking about doing this to try and make her look not as thin. But at the same time, they're making up another Barbie, which is, they've actually already come out with, her name's Top Model Barbie. Actually, I have a picture of it. And she's skinnier than the regular Barbie, and her head is actually smaller. So it's funny that they're talking about trying to make these Barbies smaller bigger, when in reality they're a lot thinner, and they don't even fit into the normal Barbie clothes. And they also show their ribs if you take off their top. So it's kind of it's kind of silly that they're kind of saying one thing and then making another. Friedman writes about how it is feared that by these stereotypical feminine roles, if you play with them as children, girls will internalize them and they will embody their roles later in life. Next I will be talking about the effects of Barbie. And just to go a little bit more into Barbie as a real human, they took this girl who's a size 12, and they changed her size basically to Barbie's proportions, and this is what she would look like. And then if they kept her waist size, she would actually be about 7 feet tall, and that's, I think, like 2 inches shorter than the world's tallest woman. Anyways, next I'll be talking about the effects of Barbie. The tiny doll may seem harmless, but in reality, she can have a lot of, she can be really, a lot of children can look up to her as a role model. In Catherine Fisher's article, it's entitled "Barbie's Guns and Control," she discusses how your children play with these things and start to think of them as being the normal thing. And obviously Barbie's image isn't normal. Another effect, the first effect, is obesity, because children can have a very low self-esteem level, and children 6 through 11 are overweight, and that's about 1 of every 5 child, which is also interesting because the ages of children that play with Barbies is about 6 through 11. In the Australian Nursing Journal, it talks about how as young as 8-year-olds are being hospitalized for anorexia, which is obviously an awful thing because these children don't even know, and they want to have this image of Barbie, and obviously, 1 in 100,000 people can obtain that. Lastly, I'll be discussing the individuals well, actually, I'm still discussing the individuals. This is one of the women who actually is known to be the real-life Barbie, and this is what she looked like before, and this is after. And she spent thousands and thousands of dollars on plastic surgery to look like Barbie, and she states in an article that she realizes that obviously, Barbie's image is pretty unrealistic, but she looks up to her as a role model. Lastly, I will be talking about what we can do. in order to hopefully prevent this. First of all, I think that Mattel can start making a Barbie that is more realistic. And there are a lot of other dolls out there as well that we can, you know, buy for children in order to help them not have, hopefully, this self-esteem issue. And I hope that all of you think twice about purchasing a Barbie for your niece, sister, or anyone like that, because it can have long-term effects on them. That's it. Thank you.